Ethan was tired. The alien world of Zarnox 4 was loud, dirty, and crowded. He had come here to buy engine parts, not trouble. His ship was broken. He needed to fix it and get off this planet. But as he walked through the market, something stopped him. A sound. It was soft. So soft most people didn't notice, but Ethan did. It was a cry. Not loud, not angry, just sad. A small broken sound. He looked around. The market was full of strange creatures, tall ones with silver skin, short ones with horns, stalls selling, glowing fruits, electric weapons, and dusty metal junk. But the sound didn't come from any stall. It came from the shadows. He followed it, step by step. The noise grew clearer, a whimper. He turned down a dark alley behind a stall. There, between two trash bins, was a small cage. It was rusty and old, sitting on cracked stone. And inside the cage, a little girl, not human. She had pale violet skin, long silver-white hair, and big glowing eyes that shimmered even in the dark. Her wrists were chained, her ankles too. Her body was thin and her clothes were torn. She was crying. Ethan blinked. For a moment he thought he was imagining it, but the girl looked at him and froze. She was scared. When she saw him step closer, she pushed herself into the corner of the cage. Her back hit the bars. She shook her head slowly as if to say, "Please don't hurt me." Ethan raised his hands. "It's okay," he said gently. "I'm not here to harm you." But she didn't answer. She couldn't. Her lips trembled. Her eyes were full of fear. A group of aliens passed behind him and laughed. One of them said in a rough voice, "Still crying, is she? Worthless thing. Can't even beg right." Ethan turned to them. "Who is she?" The alien, a fat one with wrinkled green skin, shrugged. "Some slave. No one wants her. She's been here for days. No buyers." "Then why is she still here?" The alien chuckled. "Entertainment." Ethan clenched his fists. "She's a child." The alien didn't care. "So what? She's not yours. Walk away, human." But Ethan didn't walk away. He knelt beside the cage. The girl stared at him. A tear rolled down her cheek. Her mouth moved slightly. She whispered something, but it was too soft to hear. "What's your name?" he asked. She didn't answer. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small bottle of clean water. "Here," he said, opening the cage slightly. "I'm not going to touch you, just this." He placed the bottle inside and backed away. The girl stared at the bottle for a long time. Her hands slowly reached for it. She was shaking. She took a tiny sip, then coughed. But she drank more. Ethan felt something heavy in his chest. She was starving. "Who owns her?" he asked loudly. The fat alien returned with a grin. "That would be me." "Want her?" "I want to help her." "Then buy her." Ethan's face tightened. "She's not an object," the alien laughed. 10 credits. 10 credits, that was nothing. The price of a sandwich. Ethan didn't want to support slavers, but the girl looked at him again. And this time, there was a flicker of something in her eyes, not fear, hope. He reached into his pouch and tossed the credits. The alien caught them. "She's yours. Enjoy." Ethan ignored him. He carefully opened the cage fully. "It's okay," now he said. "You're free." But the girl didn't move. He waited. Still, nothing. He looked closer. She was too weak to stand. Her legs had red marks from the chains. Her skin was pale. Her arms were shaking. So gently, Ethan stepped inside. The cage. He lifted her up in his arms. She didn't fight. She just leaned her head against his shoulder. Her breathing was slow. Her hands hung limp. Ethan walked back into the light of the market. People stared. Some whispered. Some laughed. But he didn't care. He held her tighter. He didn't know her. He didn't know where she came from. He didn't even know what species she was, but she cried in a cage, and he was the only one who listened. And that was enough for now. Ethan walked slowly through the crowd with the alien girl in his arms. Her body was light, too light. She hadn't eaten in days. Her skin was cold. She didn't speak, just rested her head against his shoulder like she was too tired to care what happened next. Aliens moved aside when they saw her. Some covered their noses. "She smells," one whispered. "She's cursed," said another. "Bad luck to even touch her." Ethan ignored them all. He reached his small shuttle, unlocked the door, and gently laid the girl on the sleeping bench inside. The lights inside the ship were soft and warm, but she still flinched as if expecting pain. He knelt beside her. "It's okay," he said in a low voice. "You're safe now." She looked at him, then quickly looked away. Ethan grabbed his med kit. Her wrists were red and bruised where the chains had cut into her skin. He sprayed healing foam over them. She winced but didn't pull away. He found a clean blanket and gently wrapped it around her small form. Her body trembled, not from cold, from fear. Ethan sighed. He had seen pain before. He had been a soldier. He had seen wounded bodies and broken minds. But this girl, she hadn't just been hurt. She had been forgotten. An hour passed. She still hadn't said a word. Ethan made a bowl of warm broth and placed it in front of her. At first, she stared at it like it was something dangerous. He waited. Finally, she lifted it with shaking hands. Her sips were tiny. Her eyes kept jumping toward him like she expected him to take the food away. But Ethan stayed where he was, calm, quiet. She finished the bowl. Her eyelids were heavy. "You can sleep," he said gently. "No one will hurt you here." She didn't answer, but she curled up under the blanket. Minutes later, her breathing slowed. She was asleep. Ethan didn't sleep. He sat beside her, watching, wondering. Who was she? Where were her parents? Why had no one helped her? The next morning, he walked back into the market. He needed answers. He returned to the same fat alien who had sold her. "Where did she come from?" Ethan asked. The alien laughed. "Why? Regretting your charity? Answer me." "She came from a raid," the alien said casually. "Some pirates attacked a small alien colony, took everything, ships, slaves, the usual. She was just cargo. The pirates dumped her here after her value dropped. Too small, too scared, too weak." Ethan's jaw tightened. "So you caged a child for fun?" The alien shrugged. "It's not illegal." Ethan stepped closer. His eyes were cold. "Maybe it should be." Back at the ship, the girl was awake. She sat on the floor with the blanket still around her. She looked at Ethan, unsure. He knelt beside her again. "Do you understand me?" She nodded slowly. "What's your name?" She hesitated. Then her lips moved. "Lyra." Ethan smiled gently. "That's a beautiful name." She looked down. "I'm Ethan," he added. Silence. Then very softly she whispered, "Why did you help me?" Ethan's smile faded a little. "Because no one else did." Her eyes filled with tears, but she quickly wiped them away. "I'm not useful," she said. "They said I was broken." "You're not broken," Ethan replied firmly. "You're alive. That's enough." She didn't speak again, but this time, when Ethan brought food, she ate without fear. And later, when he walked past her, she didn't flinch. That night, as he adjusted the ship controls, he heard a soft voice behind him. "Thank you." He turned. Lyra stood behind him, still wrapped in the blanket. It was the first time she looked directly into his eyes. Ethan nodded. "You're welcome." She walked closer and sat beside him. Not too close, but closer than before. She didn't say anything else. She didn't need to. Ethan knew. Something had changed. The cage was gone. But more importantly, she was starting to believe that she was free. Lyra sat near the heater, wrapped in the same soft blanket Ethan had given her. Her violet eyes followed him as he moved about the ship, checking systems, fixing wires. She hadn't spoken much all morning. But Ethan didn't push her. She was healing, slowly, but not safe yet. Outside, Zarnox 4 was still dangerous. Ethan had given her warmth, food, and space to breathe. But he hadn't given her freedom. Not truly. Not until the world around them stopped seeing her as property. He needed to make it official. And for that, he had to speak with someone dangerous. The market buzzed with life again. Creatures barked, shouted, and bargained. Ethan kept his steps steady as he moved through the maze of stalls and voices. He stopped in front of a hidden building behind a curtain of flashing blue beads. The sign above it read in 4 languages, Registrar of Slave Transfers and Purchases. Disgust filled his chest, but he went inside anyway. A tall, thin alien with scales and glasses sat behind a desk. His yellow eyes scanned Ethan. "What do you want, human?" "I want a release certificate." "For whom?" "A girl, small, silver hair, violet skin. I bought her yesterday." The alien tapped a screen. "Not registered under your name." "That's why I'm here." The clerk looked unimpressed. "You want ownership?" "No. I want to free her." Silence. Then a smirk. "Ah. One of those." Ethan kept calm. "Can you help or not?" The alien tapped keys. "Technically, yes, but this girl was brought in through a pirate network. She's considered lost property. Anyone who tries to claim her must pay a clearance fee." Ethan narrowed his eyes. "How much?" 50 credits. 50. That was 5 times what he paid to get her out of the cage. "Pirates left her to rot," Ethan said. "She's a child." "And you want more?" The alien shrugged. "Rules are rules." Ethan reached into his bag. He placed the credits, every spare credit he had, on the table. "Do it." The alien took the chips, scanned them, and stamped a data pad. He handed Ethan a small glowing chip. "She's yours, officially. You can now file for emancipation." Ethan stared at the chip, not because it was worth something, but because now Lyra was free. He returned to the ship just before sunset. The sky outside was dark orange, filled with heavy clouds. A cold wind blew across the loading dock. Inside the ship, Lyra sat in silence. Ethan knelt beside her again and placed the glowing chip in her hands. She looked at it, confused. "What is it?" she asked quietly. "It means you're not owned anymore," he said. "Not by anyone. Not even me." Lyra stared at him. "I bought your freedom," he added. "You're safe now, completely." Her eyes filled with tears. "But come, where will I go?" Ethan frowned. "You can stay here, as long as you want, or if you want to find your people, I'll help." She didn't speak. Instead, she held the chip tightly and whispered, "I don't remember them." "Then we make new memories," Ethan said softly. Lyra looked at him for a long time. Then she nodded, not quickly, but firmly. That night she dreamed of stars, not cages. And when she woke, she found a warm bowl waiting, and Ethan smiling at her. Like she mattered, because to him she did, but not everyone agreed. In the shadows of the market, the fat alien who once sold Lyra was speaking to someone new, a tall figure in black armor. "He took her," the fat one said. "But she belonged to the Red Fangs. They'll want her back." The armored figure grunted. "They're already looking." "Then, tell them a human has her. Tell them he paid for her freedom." The figure's voice was cold. "There's no such thing as freedom once they mark you." Back on the ship, Lyra laughed for the first time. It was small, but real. Ethan looked at her and smiled. He didn't know that a storm was coming, but he knew one thing. Whatever happened next, he would protect her, because he was no longer just a stranger who heard her cry. He was her shield now. Lyra slept curled up in the corner of Ethan's ship, her small form wrapped in a soft blanket. Outside, the metal hull groaned with the wind. But inside, for once, there was peace, or so it seemed. Ethan watched her sleep from the control panel. Her breathing was slow. Her chest rose and fell softly, but her hands were clenched into tight fists. He noticed her fingers twitch. And then, she whimpered. Ethan stood, stepped closer, and crouched beside her. She was still asleep. But tears ran from her closed eyes. Then she screamed, "No, no, not again, no!" Her voice echoed off the steel walls. Her body thrashed violently under the blanket. She kicked the air, arms flailing, eyes squeezed shut. Ethan reached for her. "Lyra, it's okay, it's me." She didn't hear him. He grabbed her shoulders, not hard, just enough to keep her from hurting herself. "Lyra, wake up." Her eyes snapped open, glowing, wild, filled with terror. For a second, she didn't recognize him. She gasped for breath. Her whole body shook. Then slowly, her eyes focused. Ethan." He nodded. "It's okay. It was just a dream." Lyra grabbed his shirt and clung to him like she was drowning. She didn't speak. She just cried. Ethan held her tight. Later, she sat with a mug of warm broth between her hands, her knees pulled up to her chest. Ethan sat across from her saying, "Nothing." Finally, Lyra broke the silence. "They tied me to a wall." Ethan looked up. She didn't look at him. "They didn't feed me for days. They said I wasn't worth anything if I didn't learn fast, but I didn't understand their language. I tried to speak, but they beat me." Ethan swallowed hard. "They laughed while I cried," she whispered. "Said my tears made them stronger." Ethan gently placed his hand on the table between them. She stared at it. Then slowly, very slowly, she placed her hand over his. She was still trembling, but she didn't pull away. "They called me broken." "You're not broken," Ethan said. Her voice cracked. "Then why do I still feel like I am?" Ethan knew words weren't enough. So he stood, walked to a locker, and pulled out a small black case. Inside were medical tools, gentle healing gels, and scan patches. He had once used them on soldiers. Now he used them on her. "May I?" he asked. Lyra nodded. He rolled up her sleeves slowly. Underneath were old scars. Thin, sharp lines, not just from chains, from whips, burn marks, needles. Ethan's jaw tightened, but he stayed calm for her. "This won't hurt," he said. With soft hands, he cleaned each mark, applied healing cream, patched the deeper ones. Lyra didn't flinch. She sat still, silent. When he was done, he handed her a mirror. She looked at her arms. Some marks were already fading. For the first time, her face showed something different. Wonder. "Used to dream of flying," she whispered. Ethan looked at her. "Do you still want to?" She hesitated. "Yes, but I don't think I can." "You will," he said. "One day you'll fly anywhere you want." She smiled, but only a little. It was enough. The next morning, Lyra walked out of the ship on her own for the first time. Her steps were slow, careful, but she did it. Ethan stood nearby, ready to catch her if she fell, but she didn't. She walked across the landing bay, looked up at the sky, and stretched her arms toward the clouds. But trouble was coming. Far across the city, in the shadows of the lower levels, the Red Fangs had received a message. One of their lost goods had been claimed. They wanted it back, not because they cared about Lyra, but because no one was allowed to take what was theirs. Back on the ship, Lyra sat near the window, watching stars appear in the sky. Ethan came and sat beside her. "Do you feel a little better?" he asked. She nodded. "A little." He smiled. "Good. Because tomorrow, we leave this planet." She looked at him with surprise. "Where will we go?" "Somewhere safe," he said. "Somewhere you can be free." Lyra leaned her head against his arm. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. Her scars were still there, but they no longer owned her, and for the first time in her life, she believed in tomorrow. The stars above Zarnox 4 twinkled like frozen sparks. From inside Ethan's ship, Lyra stared at them, her face lit by soft light. She didn't speak. She just watched the sky, as if it could whisper secrets from a world where children weren't locked in cages. Ethan was nearby, packing supplies. The engine was fixed, fuel loaded. They'd leave at dawn. But dawn would never come the way they planned. At the edge of the landing bay, a sleek black ship descended without a sound. Its surface was smooth like glass with a red fang emblem painted on the side. The red fangs had arrived. Inside, 3 figures stepped down the ramp, tall, armored, and silent. Their eyes glowed red behind masks. The one in the middle tapped a device on his wrist. "She's here," he growled. The girl growled. Ethan heard it before he saw it, a soft beep from his security panel. Motion, approaching fast. He turned toward the camera feed and froze. His heart dropped. They had found her. He ran to Lyra, who still sat by the window. "Lyra," he said quickly. "We have to go, now." Her eyes widened. "What's wrong?" "They're here. The ones who sold you." Lyra went pale. Her hands gripped the edge of the bench. "No." Ethan knelt in front of her. "Listen to me. I won't let them take you, I promise." Tears filled her eyes. "They'll hurt you. Not if I get us out of here first." He grabbed his pulse pistol, hit the emergency startup, and bolted toward the cockpit. The ship roared to life, but before he could lift off, the power flickered. A dark voice echoed through the comms. "You have something that belongs to us, human." Ethan grabbed the mic. "She belongs to no one." A slow chuckle followed. "We disagree." Then, a power surge. The lights went out. The ship was locked in place. They hacked the docking clamps. Ethan muttered. Lyra was behind him, trembling. "They always find me." Ethan looked at her, not with fear, with fire in his eyes. "Not this time." He handed Lyra a small communicator. "Go to the crawl space behind the supply crates. Hide. Stay quiet. Don't come out until I call." She shook her head. "I won't leave you." Ethan knelt, gripping her shoulders gently. "I need you safe. Please." Tears rolled down her cheeks, but she nodded and vanished into the shadows. Seconds later, the ship's ramp hissed open. Smoke drifted in. The 3 red fangs stepped inside. The leader spoke. "Return the girl. Now." Ethan stood in the center of the ship, unmoving. "She's free," he said. "Go back to whatever hole you came from." The second figure raised a weapon. "You don't scare us," he said. Ethan pulled out his pistol. "I don't need to scare you. I just need to stop you." The first shot cracked like thunder. Ethan dove behind cover, returning fire. Sparks flew across the ship as energy blasts lit up the room. The red fangs advanced, careful and cold. Ethan took out one with a clean shot to the chest plate. The armored body dropped, but the leader kept coming closer, stronger. Then, he spoke again. "You can't protect her forever." "I don't have to," Ethan said, breathing hard. "I just have to protect her now." A sudden noise broke the battle. A voice, small, but fierce. "Leave him alone." It was Lyra. She had come out, too soon, too brave. The red fang leader turned toward her. Ethan's heart stopped. "No." But before the alien could reach her, Ethan rushed forward, tackling him with full force. They both crashed into the wall, a loud snap. The leader groaned, then fell, unmoving. Silence. Lyra stared at Ethan, who sat up, breathing hard, bruised, but alive. "You were supposed to hide," he said with a half-smile. "I was tired of hiding," she whispered. He opened his arms. She ran into them, and for the first time she didn't feel small. She felt strong. They later stood beside the bodies. Ethan deactivated the ramp lock and freed the ship from the docking clamps. Before they left, Lyra walked over to the leader's mask and kicked it away. "I'm not going back," she said, and she never would. As the ship lifted off into the stars, Lyra stood at the window again, She still had scars, still had fear, but now she also had fire, and a human who would burn down galaxies to keep her safe. The stars stretched endlessly outside the window, but Ethan's hands gripped the ship's controls tightly. He had pushed the engine beyond safe limits. Smoke curled from the dashboard. Alarms blinked. They were running. But running wasn't enough. Anymore. Behind them, the second Red Fang vessel was in pursuit, faster, newer, and armed. Lyra sat in the co-pilot seat silent, her small fingers wrapped around the edge. Her eyes were wide, but not with fear, with resolve. "They won't stop," she said softly. "They never do." Ethan glanced at her. "Then we make them stop." The ship shook violently as a warning shot hit their side. Sparks burst from a panel behind them. "Shields at 40%, Ethan muttered. "They're hailing us," Lyra said, pointing to the blinking red light. "Let's see what they want." Ethan opened the channel. A harsh voice barked through. "Surrender the girl or we destroy you." Lyra stared forward. Ethan leaned in slowly. "She's under protection. Attack us. And it's war." The reply was just static. And then, a second missile locked onto them. Ethan slammed the controls. The ship dove into an asteroid field nearby, weaving dangerously between giant rocks. Behind them, the Red Fang ship followed. "Hold on," he shouted, as they narrowly dodged a spinning chunk of ice. Lyra grabbed the armrests but didn't scream. She had stopped screaming long ago. Instead, she closed her eyes and remembered something. She had been 5 the first time she was caged. A stranger had pulled her away from her village. She remembered her mother's voice calling for her. Then, nothing. Years of silence, years of chains, until Ethan. A crack brought her back. A small meteor had slammed into their hull. Minor damage. "Ethan," Lyra said quickly, "we can't just, and they'll catch us." "I know," he replied. "I was hoping you'd say that." He flicked a switch, and a hidden compartment opened. Inside were weapons, military grade, illegal, but very real. Lyra blinked. "You were a soldier?" "Not anymore," he said, "but I still remember how to fight." He handed her a small device. "What's this?" "A jammer. Go to the back of the ship. Place this near the engine core. It'll block their sensors for 2 minutes." Lyra stood. "What will you do?" Ethan loaded a launcher. "Buy us a future." While Lyra slipped away into the engine room, Ethan turned the ship sharply around, toward the enemy. They didn't expect that. The Red Fang ship pulled up to dodge, but Ethan fired 2 fast shots. One struck the lower wing. The other disabled the enemy's forward cannon. Back in the engine room, Lyra planted the jammer. It blinked green. She ran back. "It's done," she shouted. Ethan smiled. "Then hold on tight." He activated a stealth jump, a secret drive that allowed short-distance hyperspace leaps. Dangerous, unstable, but unpredictable. With the jammer hiding their signal, the Red Fangs couldn't track the jump. A flash of light, and they were gone. Silence returned. 3D stars outside looked peaceful again, but inside Lyra collapsed into the co-pilot seat, her breath short. "You okay?" Ethan asked. She nodded. "That was close." Ethan leaned back, rubbing his face. "Too close." Lyra turned to him. "They'll keep coming." "Yes," he said. "But now, we fight smarter." She looked confused. He pointed to the screen, where a list of planets and stations appeared. "We tell your story. To others. We show them what the Red Fangs are doing. They stay powerful because everyone stays quiet." Lyra blinked. "You think people will care?" He looked at her. "I cared." She smiled softly. That was enough to begin. Later that night, Ethan found Lyra writing something on a data pad. "What are you doing?" he asked. She didn't look up. "Making a list." "A list?" "Of all the children like me. All the ones they took." Ethan stared at her, then nodded. "We'll find them." The hunted had decided to hunt back, and the galaxy wasn't ready for what a human and one brave little alien girl were about to do. The ship landed on a quiet moon. It had no name, no flags, and no laws. Just open skies, soft sand, and peace. Lyra stepped out first. Her bare feet touched the warm ground. The wind brushed through her silver hair. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she smiled. It was her first real smile. Not small, not afraid. A full smile. She turned to Ethan. "We're not running anymore, are we?" He shook his head. "No, we're done running." It had been 3 weeks since the escape from the Red Fangs. They hadn't been seen since. Maybe they were regrouping. Maybe they were hunting. But Ethan and Lyra didn't hide. They prepared. The small moon had an abandoned outpost. Ethan repaired the buildings with Lyra's help. They built solar shields, water filters, communication towers, but most important, they built a signal. One message, one voice, broadcasted in every language known across space. To the forgotten, to the lost, to the children kept in cages. You are not alone anymore. Lyra recorded it herself. Her voice reached far systems. She was no longer whispering in fear. Now, she spoke so the stars could hear. Days passed, then one ship arrived, then another, then dozens, alien children, teens, even a few survivors who had escaped slavery long ago. Some cried when they heard Lyra's voice, some didn't speak at all. But they came because someone finally called for them, and they were answered by a human, and a girl who had once been broken. Ethan trained them, taught them how to protect themselves, taught them how to fly, fix engines, think smart, and stay safe. Not as soldiers, but as survivors, who would never be weak again. And Lyra, she became their voice. One night, Lyra sat alone on the rooftop of the outpost. She looked at the stars. A soft wind carried voices from below, laughs, footsteps, life. Ethan joined her. He handed her a warm drink. "I thought you'd be asleep," he said. "I couldn't," she replied. "I keep thinking about the cage." Ethan stayed quiet. Lyra continued. "Back then I thought no one would ever care, that I'd die in that metal box. You didn't. Because of you," she whispered. Ethan shook his head. "Because you held on." Lyra looked at him. "I want to help more," she said. "Not just those who come to us. I want to go find them, pull them out of those cages." Ethan smiled. "You're ready." And so, the girl who once cried in the dark became a light for others. She led missions to free more captives. Her name spread across galaxies. Lyra, the voice of the forgotten, and always at her side, Ethan, the man who had once just stopped to listen. Years passed. No one dared cage children again in the open. Not after what happened to those who tried. The Red Fangs vanished. Some said they were destroyed. Others said they were spared by a girl who showed mercy where none had ever been shown to her. One day a young alien girl arrived at the outpost, afraid, quiet, chained. Lyra knelt in front of her, spoke gently. "You're safe now." The girl looked at her and whispered, "Why are you helping me?" Lyra smiled warmly. "Because once I was you." And just like that, the cycle broke, not with war, but with love, with strength, with one human who heard a cry and chose not to walk away.